everyone, thank you so much for tuning into my video. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for being patient with me. I know I promised to do this video a long time ago, but I just got the time to do it now. So I hope you enjoy it. I will be sharing my story through answering the questions that you guys asked, and I just hope you are answered. And the aim of doing this video, or the aim of basically sharing my story, is to change the perspective of the general public towards people that are living with a disability or a hearing impairment. Most importantly, what I have experienced through living with a hearing problem. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys get the answers to all your questions. All right, let's get to this. My first question here is your hearing from infancy, or was it something that happened later? How did your parents know? My hearing problem is from infancy. With one ear it's from infancy, and then with the other one I'm going to explain what actually happened, how I actually lost my hearing just a bit, not too much, so I'm just grateful that I can hear. And how my parents knew with the one that I was born with. With my dad, it's two stories from both parents. With my dad, he says when I was on my mom's back, he used to play with me. See, when the child is on your back and you're just clicking so they can turn around. So with him, he clicked on my, what's this, right, yeah, he clicked on my right ear and I didn't turn around, and he clicked on my left ear. That's why I turned around all the time. He says he ignored it back then because he didn't think it was really important. And then with my mom, she says as I was growing up, I used to turn around every time they spoke to me. Every time someone was sitting on my right, every time they spoke to me, I'd turn around. Obviously, I was still young, so I didn't really know what was going on. So they asked me, what's going on? Why are you turning around? That's how they found out. How did your family respond when they found out? My family was very, very supportive, but they were shocked. I had to ask this question because I was very young when they found out, so I had to go back, call them, and ask them, how did you react? They were shocked, obviously hurt, because you don't expect such from a young child. You expect it maybe from someone who's growing older. But they were shocked, and yeah, that's how basically they responded. How accommodative has your family and those around you been since finding out about this? My family has been very, very supportive, because I remember when I was in primary school, the time I used to wear one hearing aid. They took me to the doctor. They did hearing tests. I got one hearing aid back then because I didn't have a problem with the other ear. They tested it and it was perfectly fine. They've been very supportive. Obviously, it changes the family dynamics, how they do things. They have to be more considerate when they talk to me. They shouldn't shout at me because obviously I'm gonna catch feelings. Why are you shouting? Speak nicely, because every time you shout, you just remind me of how I can't hear. So they had to be gentle, and yeah, that's how they've been. With my friends, the circle I have right now is very, very supportive. Really, I couldn't ask for better, because they always ask, Sunshine, are you fine? Can you hear us? When we're in loud places, they always ask, Sunshine, are you fine? If it's too loud, just take out one earring. And you know, they're very, very supportive. They ask me if I can't hear them, and they never judge me. Yeah, that's how the people around me reacted. And the next question is, were you told the main reason behind the problem? With my right yeah, with my right, I was a premature baby. So looking at it from a medical point of view, my body wasn't really developed when I was born. But also they say my dad had not a hearing problem. His ears were painful when he was younger, but he prayed, guys. Imagine. He prayed and he's perfectly fine. His ears are working perfectly fine. There's no pain. He's never experienced anything. I've never heard him complaining. And then with my left ear, oh my gosh, guys. With my left ear, I was slapped back in high school by my class teacher. Basically how it happened, okay, I was slapped and I couldn't hear it. Okay, my ear couldn't work for like maybe an hour. I could hear everything in slow motion. I know it's very hard to believe this. Every time I tell people this story, they just like, Sunshine, there's no such thing. But the truth of the matter is that I heard everything in slow motion and I literally cried. because I was like, God, is this the end of it? But yeah, I was slept and my hearing got affected. On to the next question. It says, how did you feel when you found out you had a hearing problem, and how did you cope? uh when I was young, obviously I knew nothing, but I started to feel when I grew older. How I felt, for me, I felt sad. I think that's the only word I have in my head. I felt sad. I felt helpless. There was literally nothing that they could do to fix my hearing. And yeah, I was just sad. And how did I cope? Honestly, when I was young, I couldn't cope. I honestly couldn't cope, because when you're younger and you're growing up, everyone is just bullying you, telling you, now you can't hear, we can't be friends with you because you can't hear. So I think when I was younger, I couldn't cope. I only started coping recently when I'm older, and just trying to actually understand my journey, that we won't all go through the same things. So basically I just embraced my journey and I accepted myself. I think that's how I really coped. Yeah, man, that's how I did it. And the next question is, how has it affected you? I'm very much of a loner. I think for people that know me, I am a people's person, but I have restricted myself into how much I associate myself with people. I'm always in my room. I'm a loner, and I don't know, man. I think the reason why I'm very much of a loner is because I feel like people are entitled to telling me how I should react to my hearing problem, how I should treat myself, uh how much I have not accepted myself. If you have not, well, if you're still crying about it, it basically means that you have not accepted yourself. I feel like we all have bad days, and I have totally accepted myself like this. And just because I cry about it sometimes doesn't mean that I haven't accepted myself. So I think those are some of the reasons why I I withdrew socially. I am a people's person a lot. I love being around people, but I also love being alone. And I think, yeah, man, don't tell me how I should deal with my problem, you know? So yeah, what else? Yeah, with confidence also, I mentioned being bullied in primary school and high school too. Even recently in university, there's people that actually laugh at me for not being able to hear them. Yes, as old as we are, there's still people that laugh at us for not being able to hear. And it's not something that I did to myself or I chose. I was like, God, I want to be the one that can't hear, you know? But yeah, I've lost so much confidence in myself. So yeah, those are some of the things that have really affected me, and that's how I responded towards it. But I'm working on it, definitely working on it. And then my next question is, how do you think life would be if you had no hearing problem? This was the most difficult question to answer. Reason being, I don't know how it feels. I honestly don't know how it feels living without a hearing problem. But I think uh life would be maybe easier, and I think I'd have done better academically. Even though I am really not that I'm really doing well, but I am trying my best. But yeah, I think I'd be better in a lot of things. I'd believe in myself a lot, because right now I'm just like, yo, I can't do this, you know. Yeah. And my next question is, how well do you cope with criticisms around hearing problem? The first thing I always do is I look into why someone could actually tell me that or criticize me. And what I believe is that criticism comes from a place of insecurity. First of all, I feel like some people project their misery towards you. So because you feel miserable, now you want everyone else around you to feel miserable. You make them feel bad about themselves. Also, one thing I also remind, I think this is what I do 70% of the time. One thing I also remind myself is that there's beauty in difference. So much beauty in difference. Imagine everyone looking the same, everyone just living life the same way, having the same features on the body, on your face, everywhere. I think that's what I always tell myself. There's so much beauty in difference. um One other thing I do is that I stay positive in the face of adversity. I try stay positive all the time. And I think that's one thing that really helped me, you know. So yeah. Okay, the bad things that I do is I make excuses for the people. Oh, maybe they're doing this because of that. Oh, maybe. Oh no, they don't know. Oh no, they don't understand. Or I cry. I think crying is just my way of expressing how I feel. I cry all the time. And yeah, I think that's how I really cope with criticism. And yeah, man, that's how I do it. My next question is, what do you think most people don't get or know about living with a hearing problem? I lip read. One thing I do is that I lip read. And some people don't get it, especially guys. I think with guys, every time I look at their lips, because I can't hear them, they think I'm attracted to them. I'm attracted to them. And no, I'm not attracted to them. It's just a way of trying to understand what you're saying. And what else? I can't always tell where sound is coming from. This is my reality, guys. I can't always tell where sound is coming from. Literally, my phone could be ringing right here and I look for it in the wrong places. Or my mother could be calling my name from a room. My room is right next to my parents' room. They could be calling me from their room, and I'd get out of the house trying to look for her. I'm like, where are you? And then she's gonna be like, I'm in my room, you know. I can't really locate where sound is coming from, and I can't really tell how loud sound is, because I think I see this through, okay, when I'm watching TV at home and the sound is really loud, my dad always comes and says, ah, Sunshine, you're playing music too loud. Or even when we're in the car, I always increase the volume and they always remind me, no man, the sound is really loud. I can't really tell where sound is coming from. And also, hearing loss is quite progressive. It gets worse. For me, it's been getting worse every time. So every time I go to the audiologist, they just say, oh man, your hearing is getting worse every time, you know. Yeah, those are some of the things that people don't know and they really don't get. And the next question is, academically, how do you cope in lecture halls and how far can you hear? One thing I do is that I sit in front no matter what. No matter how much I hate that module, I sit in front. Whether lecturers will ask me questions, the only way I cope is sitting in front. If I'm not sitting in front, this is what I do with my hearing aids. There's two buttons here. So to make it focus to the front, I actually press on it for a long time. It focuses to the front. It ignores the sound at the back and it focuses to the front. And also, yeah, one thing I'm also grateful for, when I did my hearing test in 2015 and my audiologist said, what grade are you in? She asked me, what grade are you in? I'm like, ah, nah, I'm in matric. And she's like, you've never failed? And I said, nah, I've never failed. She's like, people that well, according to your results, people that experience your kind of hearing loss hardly pass standard 6. Is it standard 6? Yeah, standard 6. That's what she said. And I think that's one thing I'm really grateful for. How I do it, I don't know. I think it's really the grace of God. But yeah, that's one thing I'm grateful for. Academically, how do I cope? I study, I consult too. Yeah, that's been my life basically. And I always tell the lecturers before, I give them a letter and I show them that I have a hearing problem. So if I have questions, please don't be surprised. And yeah, that's how I do it. Are your hearing aids comfortable? Comfortable. Are your hearing aids comfortable? My hearing aids are comfortable, but the first time I wore them, in like after a long time, they were really, well, it wasn't really something I was used to anymore, because I spent time without wearing hearing aids, because I used to wear one and then I stopped and then I had to go back again. They're comfortable, and there's days where you actually forget you have them on. So I just remember every time I sleep, I'm just like, man, there's something on my, I'm like, oh, the hearing aid, and then I take it off. It's really comfortable once you get used to it, but at the beginning it's not very comfortable. And What happens if you forget them and you're attending an important event? Wow, this is very important, because if I forget them and I'm attending a very important event, I sit next to someone that knows that I have a hearing problem, someone that is comfortable around me. So basically what I do is that I ask them if I can't hear what they're saying, or especially, okay, maybe if they're using mics. If they're using mics, then that becomes better. But if I can't hear, and then I have to ask the person next to me, what are they saying? Can you please assist me here and there? That's basically how I do it. But I've never really been in an event where I forget my hearing aids. They're literally always with me all the time. I never forget them. Never. I would never make that mistake. um are there any safe surgical procedures or treatments outside wearing hearing aids that could possibly help? Yes, definitely. We have cochlear implants. So basically, I know it's a bypass surgery. They put some electric device behind your ear, and yeah, I don't know how it really works. I did have an audiologist that actually suggested it, but I am not ready. But once I'm ready, I'm gonna share my experience and my journey and just explain how they do it. Hopefully, if I get ready for such, I'm gonna share my story with you. And the next question is, what can people do to make life easier for you and anyone else that has a disability? Awareness. I think people need to be aware, and we need to teach our children. I think we are responsible for our future generation. So I think we should teach them to treat people the same way, regardless of how I look or the kind of disability that I have. Because I feel like there's a certain stigma where you treat people differently because of how they behave and because they're differently abled. Just because Sunshine can't hear, I want to be friends with her, I don't like her. So I think we should just educate that regardless of how differently abled we are, it doesn't mean we can't do certain things, you know. Yeah, I think people need to be accommodative as well. And yeah, I think people should always remember that every action has a consequence. Reason being, if I am in pain because of something that someone said, okay, pain obviously doesn't exist in a vacuum. Pain comes from experience, and I think we should listen to ourselves before we say anything to someone, say anything bad to someone, say bad comments to someone. Be there for us. I think be there for such people, be there for everyone, and I think that's really gonna help, because support really matters. Support really matters everywhere we go. So yeah, I think that's really it. And there's one thing that someone said. I asked a question. When I asked on the poll, I said, is there anything that you would like to know about my hearing problem? And there's someone that said, I'd like to know that your hearing is getting better. This put a smile on my face because I wasn't really expecting it. So thank you so much for saying that, and I'm hoping that my hearing gets better too. And yeah, thank you so much guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I love you so much.